Hey everybody. So I gotta tell you, when I went to look at the transits for February, I thought, oh my gosh, there's not that much going on in February, but I was wrong. So let's get started. Let's start with one big collective hooray because Venus is finally direct. It went direct on the 29th of January, and I don't know about all of you, but I am so very thankful that Venus is direct now. But the first thing that happens in February 1st, we have a new moon. So to start things right off the bat, this new moon is at 12 degrees Aquarius, and it's a little bit of a rebellious moon. So it is conjunct Saturn, but it's making a square to Uranus. So Saturn, being the ancient ruler of Aquarius, is right there with the moon. And then Uranus, being the modern ruler of Aquarius, is making a square to the moon. And all Aquarius moons, all the moon in Aquarius wants is freedom. They want to socialize. They want to have a good time. They don't want restraints. And that's exactly what Saturn brings to this new moon is restraint. And then making the square to Uranus is a rebellious restraint. It's like the collective's kind of having a chain put around its neck with this new moon because we're so restrained with that Saturn conjunction. I think when you do your new moon meditations and think about what you want to bring in with this new moon, just maybe use a little restraint. Just remember that Saturn's going to be right there and it's going to square Uranus. And just keep all of that in mind when you set your intentions for this new moon. I just think it might be a little bit tough on everybody. But on February 4th, we can all say another collective cheer because Mercury goes direct. Yay! So Mercury will be going direct at 24 degrees of Capricorn and will thankfully remain direct for the rest of February. So, okay, on February 8th, Mars will move into a trine with Uranus. Now, this is pretty interesting energy because Mars is the actions we take, and Uranus can be that lightning strike, rebellious energy. So, for the collective, this could mean maybe a fighting fairly, maybe a little rebelliousness coming in, words said that uh, Uranus doesn't use restraint. I was going to say restraint, but that's not Uranus, nor is it Mars. So, this could kind of be an argumentative time, even though it's a trine, even though they're getting along and making a good connection to each other. This can still be a time when arguments might erupt and people's opinions get in the way. Think it could just be a little bit of um, an active energy that may land on people in the wrong way in some instances. But on the other hand, constructive arguments or constructive criticism or rebelling in a good way um, could come out of this. So just think about the houses in your chart where Taurus for Uranus and Capricorn for for Mars is, and think about what houses those two involve. That might be where you've got the rebelliousness and the action, and maybe lightning strike moments of that you decide you're going to do something, and boom, it's done just like that with that Mars energy. So just look at your chart and see where those placements are. Okay, so on February 11th, Mercury will move into a conjunction with Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Now, I like Mercury conjunct Pluto because I think it it makes us think in a more deep way. If you're studying any subject, but astrology, it's a great time because you can really focus. Mercury and Pluto together can be very focused. Um, I don't see a lot of negative with that aspect, except, Mercury can also, I mean, it can be what we watch, what we see, what we communicate. Um, there could be a little dirty talk going on with it conjunct Pluto, which may not be a bad thing for some of us. But for the most part, Mercury and Pluto together just make for some really, really deep thinking. And hopefully it doesn't move into the morbid thinking. And I guess it could. But for the most part, you know, having that extra impetus to go deeper in any subject. So on February 14th, Valentine's Day, if you celebrate Valentine's Day, Mercury will move into Aquarius. So I think I'm going to come back and talk more about Valentine's Day at the end. But Mercury enters Aquarius on that day. Now let's go to the 16th of February because that is going to be the full moon in Leo at 27 degrees. Here again, we have another full moon or another moon phase that gets a little icky sticky because it's going to make an inconjunct to the Capricorn Pluto at 27 degrees and it squares the nodes. So a full moon squaring the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. Wow, that is a lot of fixed energy. To me, that just screams stubbornness. I think for this full moon, I hope Susie will do a full video for the full moon. But really, with this, so you've got the square of the nose with the moon and the sun, and all in fixed signs. So maybe the intentions for this full moon would be to let go of some stubbornness, to decide that you're not going to be stubborn, that you're going to let go of some things. But I think as a collective, it kind of puts us all at a standstill because it involves all of our fixed signs. So we've got Aquarius, the sun in Aquarius, the moon in Leo, and then the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. Man, that is some serious fixed energy, is all I'm going to say. And I don't feel like this full moon is going to be an easy one for most of us. Now, if that wasn't enough, we have Venus moving into a conjunction with Mars at 16 degrees of Capricorn. Now, this energy is interesting as well because Venus and Mars together can be passionate. I mean, well, your Valentine's Day could end up being really sexual. It could be passionate. But for starting relationships, Venus and Mars together, you know, maybe not because it doesn't have that long lasting effect, maybe, but it definitely has a lot of passion, a lot of feminine, masculine energy going on. I think that's going to be a very interesting conjunction, and they stay in conjunction for a minute. Now, on February 18th, we have a little bit of relief because the sun enters Pisces. And you know what? It is conjunct the collective part of fortune. So I think this could be a really nice day. Um, the part of fortune and the sun together, I don't have anything negative to say about that. I'm kind of looking forward to that day. Okay, February 22nd. It's my beautiful son's birthday. I'm just going to leave it at that. Nothing else really on the 22nd. It's special to me. Okay, the 24th of February. So on the 24th, This is going to be a pretty good day, I think, because we have Mercury in Aquarius making a sextile to Chiron in Aries. And the Venus Mars conjunction is making a sextile to Neptune and Pisces. Sextiles, that's a really good energy to work with because it's not as easy as a trine. You kind of have to work for it a little bit, but those energies flow together so nicely. And I like that Mercury and Chiron, like that healing energy, like words heal on that day, and then the Venus and Mars with Neptune, that's just kind of unconditional love with a little sex thrown in, maybe. And I think the 24th is going to be a really nice day. I really do. Just remember, when you have sextiles, you kind of have to work a little bit for that harmony, but when you get it, it's just nice. It's just nice, harmonious energy. And guess what? That all gets turned around pretty quick on February 25th when Mercury moves into a square with Uranus. Mercury in Aquarius and Uranus being in Taurus. Well, so we have the planet of communication making a square to the planet that's potentially rebellious, and that could be an argumentative day as well. I hope not, but it could be. But you've got that Uranian energy that's quick thinking. I mean, Uranus is actually the higher octave of Mercury, but when they're in square together, it's like that communication could potentially be a little bit volatile. So let's go back to Valentine's Day just a minute for those of you that are looking forward to celebrating that day. So we have Mercury going into Aquarius. The moon in Leo is moving out of that opposition with Pluto. I think it's 5 degrees, I think. The moon is at 5 degrees of Leo. It is making a square to Uranus. So emotional ups and downs, I'm afraid. Venus and Mars together, which that could bring some passion to your Valentine's Day. Oh, it is square Chiron. I don't particularly like Venus and Mars square Chiron. I think that could be a little hurtful or bring up old wounds. And then the sun is square the nodes. Okay, so I'm thinking Valentine's Day. I think we all should make the best of it. That's what I think. Because collectively, the planetary energies are they're a little stifled. I mean, but I think we can all make the best of it no matter what. So to sum it all up, where is the action happening in your chart? So if you're Aries rising, Chiron's currently in Aries. We have Uranus in your second house and Capricorn in the 10th house. So that's where all the action is going to be happening for you. It'll be focused on that Uranus, and then you have Aquarius in the 11th house, your house of friendships, hopes, wishes, and dreams. So that's where you can look for most of the energy this month if you're an Aries rising. Now, if you're a Taurus rising, oh boy, so you have Uranus in your first house, and Capricorn is in your ninth with Aquarius in the 10th. So we're looking at things happening in that 10th house at the top of your chart, or your ninth in higher learning, philosophy, teaching, and then also in that first house with Uranus there. And now we'd be making a square to that Aquarius house. So that energy just between yourself and your goals in life could be a little bit tough with Uranus and Mercury and the sun all in the house of Aquarius. Okay, let's move on to Gemini Rising. So if you have Gemini Rising, you're going to have Uranus sitting in that 12th house. I think that's kind of a tough place to have it because I believe that things happen or you feel a certain way or you feel like this karmic sense of maybe a karmic sense of rebellion and you don't really realize why you feel that way, maybe. Then you have Capricorn in the 8th house. So that's another deep house dealing with the occult, with sexual things, taxes, debt. So here we have Uranus, here we have Capricorn, and then Aquarius, the 9th house energy. Um, I like Aquarius 9th house energy, but then when it's making aspects to Uranus in the 12th, um, I think those square aspects can slow down that good Aquarian energy that you have in the 9th house and maybe bring about some things in your higher learning. Bring about things you may suddenly, you may have thought you were going to another country or traveling, and suddenly that's not going to happen because of COVID. So those are just a few of the things in the houses that evolves if you have Gemini rising. So if you have Cancer rising, okay, so that puts Capricorn in your 7th house of other people. And then that backs Uranus and Taurus up to the 11th house. Now, that's not bad. So you've got the house of friendships, wishes, and dreams. And then with Uranus, and then you have the Capricornian energy in the 7th house, but that puts your Aquarian energy in the 8th. So this 8th house Mercury in Aquarius and the sun in Aquarius with the new moon, this is going to make a square to your 11th house. So, this could be some disruptions in friendships or your organizational life, or the causes that you stand for. So, if you have Cancer rising, just take a good look at your 11th house, your 7th house, and your 8th house to see that's where all the action is going to be. Okay, for a Leo rising, so we get the new moon and in Aquarius in your opposite side, and then we have the full Leo moon in your first house. So you're going to have a lot of action in your first and 7th houses as well. Now, Capricorn is in your 6th house, and that's your everyday routine, your pets, your animals, your health, and that puts Uranus in your 10th house. So, Leo risings, you have a lot of energy in your own house with the new and full moon, your 7th house of Aquarius, your 8th house of Capricorn, and then we have Taurus in the 10th. So you've got a lot of stuff going on in the angles of your chart. That could be some major happenings and changes for you this month. If you have Virgo rising, that puts your house of Aquarius in the 6th house, and then the 5th house of Capricorn. So you've got energy in that 5th and 6th, and I love the 5th house energy, and that makes that trine to Uranus. So Taurus would be, let's see, would be your 9th house. So the focus for the month of February for you will be the 5th house, the 6th house, and the 9th. Well, now I like the 5th and the 9th house energies a lot because the 5th house is creative, it's fun, it's children. The 9th house is travels and higher learning. But then you've kind of got that Aquarius stuck in there that will be making that square to the ninth house. And that energy could disrupt your everyday routine a little bit. Just keep an eye on your health. But those are the houses it will affect for Virgo rising. So if you have Libra rising, so this is going to put the house of Taurus in your eighth house. This is where Uranus will be. This is like the house of debt, deeper sexual things, the occult. And Uranus there can shake things up a little bit, but Uranus in that house of other people's money can sometimes be a good thing. That on occasion can bring in a windfall of money. But then again, it's also the house of taxes. So, like with Uranus, it can kind of go either way. Now, Capricorn will be in your fourth house of home, family, that lowest part of your chart that's just yours, your subconscious, and with Aquarius in the fifth, making that square to the eighth house. So, if you have Libra rising, you can look for the action to be in your fourth house, your fifth house, and in your eighth house this month. Okay, for Scorpio rising. So that puts Taurus in your seventh house of other people, and that's where Uranus is. So there could be ups and downs in relationships or at the workplace. It's the house of open enemies. Maybe all of a sudden one of your open enemies is going to try to befriend you or something. But anyway, so that's for yourself. Capricorn is in your third, and that puts Aquarius in your fourth house. So you're dealing with your communication house, your house of other people, and then Aquarius is the fourth, which is the lowest part of your chart. And that's it's a fixed sign. It's your house of home and family. And with that making the square to the Taurus energy, there would be a conflict between your home, your family life, and your work life for other people, or um, your partner and the real estate agent. But that's where the energy is happening if you have Scorpio rising. So it'd be in your seventh house, your third house, and your fourth house. Okay, if you have Sag rising, the energy for you, Taurus is in the sixth house. So Uranus is in your house of routine, pets, health. Here again, this is a time when you may want to watch your health regimen. Be careful with your animals. Um, your whole routine, your whole apple cart can be upset by Uranus in the sixth house. So that puts Capricorn in the second, your house of values, talents, your career. And that puts your communication energy. Aquarius is in your third house. So communications on an everyday level could be kind of out of whack with that square with Aquarius and Taurus. So if you have Sag rising, the energy will be in your second house, your third house, and your sixth house. Okay, Cap rising. Capricorn rising, you have had so much action in the last 2 or 3 years. Wow. Big growing curve for Cap risings. So that puts the energies in your first house, in your second house, in your fourth house. Oh, excuse me. Your fifth house. So Taurus, Uranian energy is going to be in the fifth house. Um, that's your house of children. Maybe things kind of getting out of whack with your kids, or your creativity all of a sudden goes through the freaking roof and you had the biggest idea you've ever had. That's what Uranian energy can do. So you've got that first house and the fifth house getting along, and then wah, wah. The second house of Aquarius making that square to your fifth house of your of Uranian energy, um, that's where things can get a little bit wonky, maybe between career and what you're thinking, your creativity, or your career and your values somehow interferes with your kids. A lot of things can happen, but if you have Cap Rising, that first house, the second house, and the fifth house. All right, Aquarius Rising, that puts that Capricorn energy in your 12th. Of course, Aquarius, your first house, and then that puts the Taurus energy in your fourth house. So with Capricorn in your 12th, um, it's making a trine to that fourth house. And this is not a bad thing. I kind of like those two working together. But then with Aquarius in your first, and so there can be conflicts between your home and your family and yourself, um, or what your goals are, what you want, you, and then that fourth house, a more of the family generational household. So if you have Aquarius rising, that's your first house, your 12th house, and your fourth house. All right, last but not least, never least, Pisces rising. Okay, Pisces rising. So that puts Taurus energy in your third house of communication, brothers and sisters, short journeys with Uranian energy in that third house. Maybe watch the short journeys just a little bit, because boy, that can, you never know with Uranian energy. Or you could have the best communication that you ever had, like out of this world, amazing with Uranian energy. It's up and down. That's the thing about Uranus. You really don't know how the energy is going to go with Uranus. Okay, so that puts Capricorn in your 11th and Aquarius in your 12th. So that 12th house is squaring off against the third house. And then in your 11th house of friendships and organizations and wishes and dreams, that makes a trine to that communication house. But then the 12th house is the one that's going to be a little bit, maybe a little off. Um, because it's making that square to Uranus. So, okay, Pisces, your 11th, your 12th, and your third house are the ones that the primary energies of February are going to be for. Okay, everybody. Gosh, if you'd like to book a reading, please see the notes below if you'd like to look at your personal transits. Um, Anyone on the team can give you a good reading about that. I believe that you can go to the shop, to Meredith's shop, and get a report on your transits. I think the ones in February are just a little bit stronger than I thought they were. So go check out your own chart, and bye, guys. See you next time.